notification bell so you know when future videos are out. And this topic will be different because it is the first time I have discussed it or discussed him on this channel. It is Eric July and his Rippaverse comics, and I believe the title is called Isom. To my surprise, first I knew about his campaign and the successful funding of his first issue, and I'm surprised there's a lot of backlash and negative reviews on YouTube online about him now and his comic. And I'm going to talk about really the comic perspective. On his channel, he's been into music, and I think he is a libertarian, but I'm not 100% sure. And I've watched some of his stuff. I have subscribed, and I do like a lot of his views on comic books because it is old school perspective of, guy, like him or not, he has a passion for comic books. He's not a fake. He's very genuine, it seems to me, about liking comic books, growing up on it, and a comic book fan, and I agree about a lot of his topics about the activism and what's wrong with the industry. And before I get there, at least he's also one of the few who, instead of, let's say, complaining about it, he is making his own comic book for entertainment. In other words, not only is he talking about it, now he's doing something and providing, getting into the game. So he made his own comic book, successfully funded, good for him. But now he's getting a lot of heat because the comic book issues are not written well or they're not drawn well. And then that's the reason why I'm actually making this video, is not to discuss him so much. And again, I didn't buy the comic book. The reason I didn't buy it was because I really don't like funding Kickstarters and stuff like that, because I don't know when the issue is going to arrive versus when you place the order in. And even though he had a quick turnaround, which is good for him because most do not have a quick turnaround, maybe it was the prices or whatever. Maybe it was something like, I could just get it later on, is what I think, like if he makes a trade paperback, stuff like that. And since I don't have the issues, I cannot properly judge it, but from what I have seen online, and even Ethan Van Sciver had issues with it, which is to my surprise. And I'd say a couple of things. First, success brings a lot of people against you. They see that he made like over $1 million on the campaigning. Again, what he actually gets, I don't know, but I'm saying the campaign funds was over $1 million, right? And that type of thing gets attention and a lot of people jealous. I've seen some YouTube videos where some people go like, oh, my comic book is great. He's a terrible writer, but I have such great ideas. You see, I'm an actual writer. And then the guy admits later on that he doesn't have a published comic book. So it's like, yeah, but I'm making a comic book, he goes, and it's going to be great. It's easy to criticize Eric July and then say he's not a good writer, and then you're so great, but then you don't have a comic book to give the fans. So it's like, you don't have any skin in the game, and then you're going to be jealous of someone who actually has skin in the game, who made something. A lot of the people who are against his issue 2 are like, well, issue 2 sales were lower than issue 1. Well, that is the honest case in most Marvel and DC books and comics in general. A number 1 will outsell an issue 2. So, I don't see a problem with that. Another issue is going against the writing, going against the art. At least he has something out and you don't. It's true. It's like, it's easy for, I think a lot of people honestly are just jealous. Because he had a very successful comic book in terms of sales. And they're probably never going to get funded even close to that. And then it's like, you're tearing apart the comic book. But here's the thing, and this is between me and you on my channel. You're tearing apart his comic book, right? The writing, the art, whatever. You're honest. Even if it's just, it's like, what are you expecting? Are you expecting Frank Miller level on The Dark Knight Returns? Are you expecting Watchmen level writing? Expecting, like, high-end writing at that high level? I think a lot of people who are saying stuff have set the bar too high. Like, what are you expecting? Like a first-time writer is going to be at like an Alan Moore level, then you will be entertained. Maybe his book is mindless. I'll grant you that. Maybe it's not written well, and the art is not great. But you know what that reminds me of? 1990s Image comics. And a lot of 1990s comics, if you're honest, the Image guys hired young artists who were amateur level back then. And they were drawing books. And you look at a lot of different companies. You could look at Ultraverse. You could look at even Valiant. And especially Image. There was a lot of amateur art, okay? Art that when you look back on it 30 years later, wasn't that good. And the writing, the characters weren't developed. The writing didn't make logical sense. The dialogue was not good. But you know what? Despite all that, you still bought it. I don't see you tearing apart 1990s comic books as you're tearing apart this Eric July in his books. Believe me, I could tear apart many 1990s comic books. But you know what? As I look back on it, I just see, like, it's kind of fun. It's not perfect. It is mindless. The art's not good. The dialogue is bad. But sometimes, you can just look at it now and it's like, look at it with a smile. Like, okay, so what, It's okay. It is what they made back then. And it doesn't have to be a tale of two cities.
And so it doesn't have to be the best writing, but you know what? The way you get better is you keep going at it. So if this guy, Eric July, gets to, let's say, one day, issue 30, issue 50, his writing will probably improve because the more you're at it consistently, the better you will be, generally speaking. It's just like drawing, it's just writing in general, that are you expecting a masterpiece if this is his first comic issue that he's ever written? Or the second? It's like in wrestling, the wrestler gets better when he's actually in the ring in front of a crowd. And then he keeps going at it. You develop your skills better over time. So even if his writing isn't good, then to me it's like 1990s Image comics, which is not necessarily a bad thing when you look back on it. And someone they went after his art that he's probably using like a chop shop where it's pieced together from different artists. Even if that is the case, okay, let's say there's a chop shop art with different people made it. Remember in the 1990s we had a lot of crossover issues where you had 3 or more people making a single issue? Or remember in the 1990s when you had crossovers and you had 3 or more artists doing each part of the crossover was different? And even the writing was different in each part of the crossover? So that's nothing new. Having different writers or different artists on a single issue or a crossover was very common in the 1990s, even now. Having last-minute fill-in artists, an artist who did a few pages and someone else did another few pages. So it's like, where have you been if you're going to go after that? If that is his art, that he used different sources. What's the problem? You know, it's like you had that in the 1990s and now. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like an artist, one single vision of an artist. That is the best case for an issue. But if it took a team to make the issue, hey, as long as they got the issue out, right? My final issue with it is if you don't like his stuff, don't buy it. Someone was complaining about a $100 variant cover or whatever. Nobody told you had to buy a $100 variant cover. What, you expected it to go up in value? It's just like gambling, you know? Oh, you buy variant issues hoping it'll go up like stocks. And then, hey, that's your money. If you made a foolish decision, that's on you. I don't remember Eric July in any of his campaigns, you know, going like, oh, you got to get this issue because whatever reason. No, you made the choice to buy it. You made the choice to fund it. And if you don't like the quality, that's just like anything else. Sometimes you make a DVD purchase or a book purchase, and then you're disappointed and you didn't like it. And sometimes you do like it. You take your chances. Maybe the book wasn't for you. Maybe you didn't like it. But you made that choice, okay? So own up to it. And then don't buy it anymore. He's not wrong for putting it out there. He's not wrong for promoting it. But he didn't threaten anyone. He didn't say you must buy this or else. Not that I'm aware of. You made a choice of your own freedom to fund it and to buy his product. And sometimes when you do that, you like the product, and sometimes you don't. And if you don't like it, don't buy anymore. If you're complaining about a $100 variant cover that you might have bought, or maybe you didn't buy, don't buy it if you don't want it. And if you bought it and you didn't like it, well, it's on you. So finally, you know, the heat surprised me, and that's why I'm making this video. That it seems like a lot of people were expecting War and Peace. They were expecting Alan Moore type level writing and Todd McFarlane level art or something. Maybe the writing isn't good. He'll probably get better. Maybe the art wasn't good. Hopefully he'll hire one single artist to do an issue. But at the same time, it's your responsibility that you made the freedom to pick up the issue. You made the choice to fund it. So own up to it. You know, that's on you. If you didn't like what you got. And don't buy any more issues if you don't like it. But I just think it's the way it's being torn apart is like you set the expectations too high and it's not deserved. You could tear apart a lot of other comic books regularly and you don't. But you're going after this guy who at least put something out there and he tried, which is a lot more than others could say. Another topic on another video, similar. So I'm going to close this up for now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll talk to you later.